Hey, what's going on guys, Chris here, and it's time to go over another weapon in Battlefield Hardline. And the one I'll be focusing on in this video is another Getaway exclusive gun, the M5 Navy. This is a mechanic weapon just like the other Getaway guns, and it's a variant of the MP5, specifically designed for use in the US Navy, hence the name. It's a law enforcement only gun without the weapon license, and just like the M12S, it's going to set you back a rather costly $60,000. Now, looking at the M5 Navy's good points first, one thing that we can see straight away is that it fires at a relatively quick speed of 800 RPM, which is quicker than most other weapons, though it's not a ridiculous bullet spewing machine either. 800 rounds per minute is quite ideal in terms of it being fast enough to get the job done quickly, but not too fast so you're going to end up with an empty mag every time you tap that trigger. Because of this, it makes the weapon feel effective to use, and lets you pump out more bullets in a shorter time than both the other Getaway expansion guns. Another good factor that the M5 Navy has under its belt is that it's also got a fairly decent range drop off. If we take a look at that damage graph, it shows us that the weapon's damage doesn't start to drop off until you reach the distance of 25 meters away from your target. Most of the other mechanic weapons tend to have their damage values start to drop off at around 20 meters, or even 8 for some of the speed demons like the Scorpion. But the M5 Navy shares its damage with the FMG9 and has a bit more range over the others as far as its close range damage being dealt. Though that being said, just like the FMG9, it also shares the fact that it's got a lower overall damage rate than a good majority of the other SMGs. Its maximum damage is 25, but this can be lowered down to just 12 beyond 35 meters. And if we put that chunk of information in terms of how many bullets that's going to take to kill, the M5 Navy is going to take 4 bullets at a minimum to drop an enemy with full health at closer ranges, and up to 9 bullets at long range. So damage wise, the M5 isn't exactly a powerhouse. But because of its swift 800 RPM, you should be able to get those 4 to 9 bullets a hit a bit quicker to compensate. When it comes to the weapon's reloads, it's probably slightly under average in comparison to the other mechanic guns. Its faster reload with bullets still left in your mag will take around 2.3 seconds, which is kind of on par with the others, though the main reload animation will run for around about 3.18 seconds, which is a tiny bit on the slower side than most of the other SMGs, so it might be worth remembering this before you dash into a room where a bunch of enemy squads are chilling. Looking at the M5's recoil pattern, it jumps upwards with a figure of 0.3, leftwards with 0.28, and rightwards with a figure of 0.25. So basically, the gun's going to have a slightly stronger vertical movement and might seem to pop to the left a bit more so than the right. Though with the left and right values being almost the same, it should feel as though the gun isn't really drifting in any particular direction too much. Compared to other SMGs, the vertical recoil is quite strong, as it's the same value as the UMP45. Though with both sideways recoil values being fairly similar, the overall recoil pattern should be quite predictable, and you shouldn't have to worry about the weapon's fire leaning too badly to a specific side. So it's attachments time, and down to the M5 Navy having that extra bit of jump for its upwards recoil value, it might be best adding on a compensator to lower that a bit, making the gun a bit more stable. Though do take into account that this will increase the horizontal recoil, i.e. the left and right recoil, by 15%. This might prove to be a better option to use in closer range one-on-one firefights, as you're more likely to be able to stay on your targets a bit easier and ensure that your shots don't fly over the head. But further away it could cause some problems down to the increase of the sideways recoil, making the weapon slightly less accurate that way. The heavy barrel is a good option down to the M5 having a slightly higher than average base spread, so sticking that on there is going to lower this, and keep your bullets closer together when you start to fire. And just like most other guns, a vertical grip is a great combo to use with the heavy barrel, to counteract its negative moving penalties. Though if you don't want to use the vertical grip, the stubby grip is also a great option to pick to lower your spread increase per shot. With the M5 Navy firing at a relatively quick speed of 800 RPM, you're likely going to be firing in full auto quite a lot, so this could be a good match. So all in all, the M5 Navy is a gun that has some great stopping power. Its bullets don't carry a bunch of damage behind them, but because you're firing at a fairly rapid speed of 800 RPM, and you also have a slight range advantage before your damage starts to drop off, this makes up for its lack of punch unless you take out your enemies quickly and effectively. The reload times aren't fantastic, and are a little on the slow side, but so long as you can change mags when you're out of enemy sightlines, you should be able to get back into the battle without too much fuss. The recoil's quite predictable, allowing you to stay on target easier, and as a whole the M5 Navy is a worthy contender on the battlefield, as it's likely to do justice in those closer to medium range engagements. So that's it guys, thanks for watching, and make sure you hit that like button if you enjoyed the video. subscribe to see more and a bunch of other stuff too, and I'll be seeing you in the next one.